Boys, welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm just going to be doing a short one, ranking the Clone Wars characters, or at least a bunch of them, from S tier all the way down to D tier, starting with Aayla Secura. Now, she was pretty mid. In the Clone Wars, we didn't really get many arcs with her in them. I think we got just like 2 or 3 arcs with Aayla Secura actually in them, so mid character. Cad Bane, S tier. Every Jedi should be afraid of this man. He took on Anakin in a one-on-one without like trying to, shoot him from far away with a blaster. Like an actual 1v1, he took on Anakin, which was pretty crazy for anybody without the Force. Cody, top of B tier. He's a pretty mid clone, which is crazy for him being one of the best, or not best, one of the most known clones. He's pretty mid, actually. If you watch the Clone Wars, he's not in many arcs, and there's just a bunch of better clones. Yoda, A tier. Now, hear me out. He doesn't have arcs like the other ones do, right? He's kind of just this mysterious character that is here to give advice and guide people. That's exactly what he was intended for, though. That's exactly why George Lucas made Yoda up. You're not supposed to know where he comes from, or what he comes from. Uh, so I'm just gonna have to put him in A tier because it's not really character development if he's just a random character who doesn't really develop, but he develops others. Ahsoka, top of S tier, best character in the Clone Wars in my opinion. Great character development from season 1 all the way to season 7. Her leaving the Order was one of the saddest scenes in movie history, and she's one of the best characters in all of cinema history. Alright, we're going to go Anakin Skywalker, S tier. Without him, none of this would be happening, and without him, Star Wars would be completely different. The Emperor would probably have taken over actually more flawlessly. Without Anakin to kill the Jedi, though, it may have been a little more difficult, but Anakin also wouldn't have killed the Emperor eventually. So, that's something else to think of. Bosk, C tier. I don't really care much for him. Maul, A tier. I loved his last fight with Kenobi. It was so poetic, the way that Kenobi fought him using his master's style. It was actually really, really cool to see him pose up like Qui-Gon Jinn, only to slice Maul when Maul used the same move that he used against Qui-Gon. It's really cool. I forgot this guy's name, but he's so cool. I'm putting him between Maul and Yoda. No, I'm putting him below Yoda. He was my favorite bounty hunter in the Clone Wars, especially growing up. It was awesome. Sister, kind of boring. More of a plot device in the Mortis arc. She was kind of just there to be killed, and yeah, she didn't really do much. Kit Fisto. I love this guy. He's always smiling. He's a great guy. R2-D2, we're going to put him in S tier. Now, the reason R2 goes in S tier is because he's the best droid, and don't you try arguing with me on this. R2-D2 is the best droid. BB-8 can suck it way better. He saves the day all the time. Padme Amidala, bottom of A tier. I might get flamed for that, but she's pretty mid, at least in my opinion. She's kind of just Anakin's basic love interest. Asajj Ventress, mid A tier, because I really liked her arc going from Sith apprentice to going back to her roots on Dathomir to becoming a bounty hunter and then eventually doing good. Palpatine, gotta put him in S tier. This man triggered the Clone Wars. He planned this all out. He took over the Republic and made it the Empire. Luminara Unduli. That's her name. I got it. B tier. Kind of boring. She just kind of follows the rules all the time. Basic Jedi. Jabba the Hutt. C tier. Boring. Count Dooku. He's really interesting, especially with his backstory as Yoda's apprentice, Qui-Gon's master. Pretty cool character, especially with Tales of the Jedi now, to show more character development. A great character. I can't remember if this is like Sazy Tin or something, but D tier, forgettable. The Father. We're going to put in high A tier. He was a great character. Balance between the dark and the light on Mortis. Pretty well written character. Takes away Anakin's memory with just a touch to the forehead. Pretty crazy. I don't know how he did that. But Anakin was supposed to be on par with him in terms of power, at least once he was fully developed, you know, which is pretty cool because this guy's ultra powerful. Hondo Onaka. Put him right above the father because he's so funny. He's a great character, and he returns in Rebels too. Oh, love him. He's an awesome guy. This guy too. I mean, I like him better than this guy. But below Bosk, Savage Opress. Oof. I'll put him top of B tier just because he was more of like a force of the Force rather than an actual what's it called? An actual like thinking individual for himself. He just kind of followed what his brother said. This lady, boring. Nothing else to say. This guy, war crimes. Nothing else to say. This guy is dope. If you look at his backstory and like what Emperor Palpatine and Count Dooku did to this poor general, it's actually crazy. They turned him into a cyborg, and it's pretty horrific. Mother Talzin above the daughter, above Cody. We'll put her above Cody. Pretty interesting. Mother of the Night Witches, Night Sisters. Pretty interesting, but like not too well written of a character, I guess. She's not in too many arcs either. Obi-Wan Kenobi, him and Anakin, and Ahsoka are the only reason you watch the show. Come on. Don't lie to me. These three, sorry, hold on. This guy goes up here too. These four are the only reason you watch the show, and I will not be convinced otherwise. But Pong Krell, oh man, his arc on Umbara was actually crazy. It's not even him as a character, but the arc he was in and the way he drove the arc was just absolutely masterful. It was beautiful. Pre Vizsla, C tier, boring. This guy, forgot his name, boring. Mace Windu, ooh, B tier, above, yeah, right below Count Dooku. So, the reason he's below Count Dooku and still in high A tier is because, well, we see him in a lot of the Clone Wars, and once you add on the fact that he used the dark side to defeat Sidious, it gets a lot more interesting. And he's a pretty interesting character. Purple lightsaber's cool as well. Don't get me wrong. That's like a big reason he's all the way up here. Also, Samuel L. Jackson, you can never go wrong with that guy. C-3PO. Top of B tier. Kind of boring sometimes, but he's comic relief. I can't put him below B tier. Like, come on. Who's going to put C-3PO below B tier? The son. I'll put him above the daughter. Actually, I'll put him above Padme. He's infinitely more interesting than the daughter, because he was like tempting Anakin. He bit Ahsoka, turned her to the dark side. He showed Anakin the future, turned him to the dark side. It was really neat. Obi-Wan is like the only one who's never turned to the dark side. Pretty freaking crazy. This bounty hunter is right next to Orosing. Boring. Boba Fett. I like Boba Fett in the Clone Wars. This is strictly... No, it's not strictly Clone Wars, but for Boba Fett, I'm going to just do Clone Wars because the Book of Boba Fett sucked. Right above Padme, I'm going to say. But yeah, I think that's a good list. If you disagree, let me know in the comments. And otherwise, like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Later.